Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to another Warcraft replay here. Let's just switch to full screen. And completely forgot to upload, so yeah, let's just cast a more recent game rather than the one I had recorded. So yeah, we have TH spawning in as the blue, should be blue, red, should be red. Red Night Elf player in the top left. His opponent will be 1, 2, 0. Let's just move the mic a little bit. I'm using my second screen for recording this time around because, well, it has the 60 Hz refresh rate rather than the first mount is 144, and I really can't be bothered like configuring the refresh rate every time I record, so yeah, hopefully the setup will not be too different. That's all I could say really. I was checking to see whether or not these two players played on the channel, and at least for the Netease ladder, it seems they haven't yet versed each other, so yeah, finally we will have 120 versus TH on the ladder. The map is on Swamp Temple, which yet again is a relatively new map with the recent updates and all that. It is still 1.30.2 I believe, so Netease is yet to roll in the nerfs to the Keeper of the Grove, the Alchemists, buffs to the Glaive Throwers, nerfs to the Mountain Giants. What else is there? I know there's other things for other races, but the Night Elf ones have kind of like popped up to my mind, to be honest, because they're the kind of the race to actually aim for, because they have a ridiculous amount of control really with the recent patch, and yeah, trying to tone down on their potency. Of course, this is not that patch, so we will see TH just playing Night Elf. Obviously his main race is human, but has been playing Night Elf, probably his second most played race. So there is that. Mercenary camp here is going to be started by TH, and he will most likely be picking up the Trolls, the Shadow Priest, and most likely the Berserker if it is not on cooldown. But either way, 2 camps, and that should be an early level 2 for him. Death Knight going for a warrior camp for himself. I'm not sure if this one drops an item or not, but I believe it does. Just basic item is going to be a +6 claws, so that is nice for himself. Interesting that he's gonna be creeping rather than going for that early harassment, but considering he is versing most likely a keeper, probably not wise to be on the aggressive side. Skeletons will be able to spot the keeper. Of course, no meaningful experience will be gained since the keeper has just recently leveled up, but replenishment potion versus a +6 claws. Let's see how well this skirmish will go. It seems not favorable for 120, however, as Shadow Priest instantly going to abolish those skeletons. And yeah, Death Knight's kind of by himself without any sort of corpses to use. Gonna be rather difficult to stick around. And seeing as we have yet to see any ghouls pop up, it does seem to be an extremely quick tier 2 as well as straight production of those Crypt Fiends. Okie dokie, we have a Tree of Life also being constructed here, and most likely an early expansion will be coming in for TH. Typical Night Elf, to be honest. Keeper exerts so much pressure on the map with his with the entangling roots as well as the force of nature. It kind of is really difficult to be aggressive against a Night Elf player who has the keeper first. So you can see here 120 doing rather unorthodox things, gonna be farming very early, and yeah, it's just gonna be prepping for that most likely Lich second, and should be popping up fairly soon. We will have to see if 120 actually goes for Lich into delayed tier 3, or if he's gonna go straight into tier 3. He is waiting on a bit of gold for that tier 3, and that should most likely be it. There we go, Black Citadel on the way. Death Knight has encountered the Keeper of the Grove, who is level 3, so we'll see how well this fight actually goes. Most of the skeletons are kind of easy pickings for the Shadow Priests, but now that he is out of mana, Keeper of the Grove is also now in danger. TP Scroll is going to be used to prevent any sort of death coils getting any cute kills off, and the Renegade Wizard camp will be finished off by 120. I believe consumable item question mark is going to be picked up there, so greater mana potion for the Death Knight, and he is also very nearing that level 3. He also has a couple of sentry walls to place down if he wants to. He should be spotting this expansion attempt here. If the water didn't, the skeletons definitely did. So yeah, a bit of a red flag for 120 because he is kind of pressured to do something about this expansion. Nice death coil there, able to creepjack one of those trolls and giving the DK that level 3. Not sure if he's going to get out of this alive. It seems the TP staff is available in his inventory and he will be able to get out. Roots do not count as sufficient crowd control for that TP scroll or TP staff, so yeah, he got out of that very nicely. TS2 completion for TH. We don't see a Hunter Soul just yet, so it might actually end up being double Ancient of Winds. Night Elves tend to, I guess, favor that a little bit with the Hippogriff Riders and the amount that they've received in terms of buffs. But at least the Alchemist is the surefire second hero. Of course, like I said, he did get hit in the patch, which was like a couple weeks ago. Acid Bomb does less damage over time. They didn't do anything about the minus armor, which I guess kind of... Actually, I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense or not because... oh, wow, that was a really bad freeze there, but... I need to double check on the Soulburn of the Fire Lord because it's Acid Bombs is basically just an AoE Soulburn, so I need to see which one, like, does Soulburn do more damage, because it definitely is not as much bang for the buck in terms of armor reduction. But yeah, nice little encounter there from 120, able to pick up a couple of easy kills for himself, also taking out the pesky Shadow Priest. DK is going to be TP staffing back home, and with Black Citadel completed, he is going to pick up most likely the Orb of Corruption for the Death Knight. There we go. And the attack items should be transferred over to the Lich, who very much would love to hurt just a little bit more. Roots onto the Shadow Priest there will be able to abolish that away, and yeah, this fight kind of forced TH to retreat there, and will be losing his own Berserker, as a Death Coil with a couple of Crypt Fiend hits there will be able to claim an Archer as well. So what is TH going for? For now it seems to be Hippogriffs. We are seeing a splash of Fairy Dragons, however, which is interesting. Don't see much need to get those Fairy Dragons unless he is looking to mana flare those Obsidian statues. I don't know if Fairy Dragons do a better job compared to just the standard Hippogriff Riders, but we'll have to just wait and see how these Fairy Dragons get implemented into the army comp. As he just said, screw it with Hippogriffs, he's gonna straight up mass Fairy Dragons. I don't think I've ever seen this before, so I'm curious to see how this turns out to be, as the Crypt Fiends are going to auto-web one of those Fairy Dragons. They do have the little shifting and dimensions thing, but obviously it is not actually being used right now, as Keeper gonna hit that level 4, Lich hitting that level 2, as we do have another mana Acid Flask being tossed over, and those Shadow Priests are slowly burning away, I guess. Alchemist gonna hit that level 2, very crucial. It kind of dictates whether or not he's gonna go the healing route or if he's gonna go for a Chemical Rage. Considering we're probably not going to see any bears, I would imagine Healing Spray is going to be the ability of choice, but we can only have to wait for that one, as yeah, this expansion is still being attacked. We are going to have a Moonstone activate, but with these Fairy Dragons, I'm I mean, there's only 2 Crypt Fiends on the ground, so there's not much anti-air options available for the undead player. It's just that Fairy Dragons don't exactly do that much damage. Force of Nature is going to be utilized there, and we are going to go straight after those Crypt Fiends. The Acid Bomb is going to be very, very nice in terms of shredding that armor. Death Coil was used by the DK, but with the Entangling Roots, that is going to finish one of those Crypt Fiends. Destroyers are in the air, and they can absorb, of course, the mana of those Treants. But with so many Fairy Dragons, this does seem a little bit too difficult of a task for a single Destroyer to deal with, as we just gonna have a reset on both sides. Population right now is at 46 for TH and 47 for 120. He does have a couple of Crypt Fiends on the ground, and he can have his statues obviously turn into those Destroyers if he needs to, but yeah, TH is kind of holding in terms of fighting back. His Wisps are doing their best they can to repair that gold mine. Well, here we go. TH has finally hit that 50 supply cap. Will he actually risk going to low upkeep to try and defend this as best he can? We're still waiting. Here we go. Alchemist is going to toss a very nice Acid Bomb onto those Crypt Fiends. Another Force of Nature is going to try and pressure those Crypt Fiends, but Destroyer once again eating as much mana as possible. Chemical Rage is going to be activated by the Alchemist, so no Healing Spray. It is going to be a rampaging, almost demon-like-esque Alchemist here. Almost doing enough damage on the Lich, but a very nice Death Coil will be able to top him off very nicely. Crypt Fiend kind of got lost in the pack. Will be Dark Ritualed back to the mana pool of the Lich, as yikes, those Fairy Dragons actually do manage to pack a punch on that single Destroyer. I guess it does help when you have like a billion of those dragons trying to fight, as it's kind of like the Druid of Talon mentality there, except obviously Druids of Talon had Fairy Fire. This time around the Fairy Dragons have a Alchemist for their minus armor. And here we go, another Acid Flask is going to be popped onto those Crypt Fiends and Lich, as one Crypt Fiend almost gets melted there, but the Alchemist needs to be a little bit careful. His Invuln is going to wear out. Another Entangle onto the Crypt Fiend, as the Death Coil is, I believe, on cooldown. Dark Ritual is going to be used to deny more experience once again, and I'm still surprised we are still at 1 Destroyer for 120, and he is still trying to pick this fight. Destroyer is constantly out of mana, so no splash damage from his Orb of Annihilations, but this is not a fight that 120 should be sticking with, because he doesn't have much to deal with the massive fleet of Fairy Dragons here. And that sound is 120 going into low upkeep, as TH is already at 60. Should be aiming for that 80 since he does have a secondary base, so yeah, I would imagine those Fairy Dragons would be doubling in their numbers very, very soon. Tree of Life did get down to half, but that is going to force the Wisp to try and repair, as more Fairy Dragons trying to kill at least one of those Crypt Fiends. Thankfully, the Death Knight has been pretty on point with his Death Coils there. So those Fairy Dragons have yet to claim a kill. We are currently almost at 1 death on that Destroyer, but we'll be able to fly away in time. Someone got preserved back home. I believe it was the Alchemist, as the Fairy Dragons once again with their mana flares trying to discourage those Obsidian statues from sticking around much longer. It is going to force those Crypt Fiends to get bursted down. One Crypt Fiend might be able to finally die, as we have 1 casualty for 120 finally. These Fairy Dragons have been doing so much damage, but they have not actually been able to get the killing blow on most of these guys, so yeah, it's either the Death Knight is out of mana, which I believe he is, and 120 might just be getting tired of this constant fighting. Furbolg Tracker is going to be taken down there, but the item, I don't know what the item was. Rune of Lesser Healing will be very, very helpful in topping off these units here. I'm fairly certain it also activates on those Obsidian statues, and I would be wrong. Never mind. Oh, here we go with the flock of fairy dragons here. I can't imagine them doing that much damage to the tower, and to my surprise, they aren't really doing that much damage either. But considering it is one Nurian tower, it is going to fall eventually. That is going to put 120 upside down in supply, as he did manage to finally take down the gold mine, but he is going to be losing a couple of his own ziggurats, maybe even the ghouls that were harvesting his own lumber. So that is going to put a halt onto those crypt feeding productions there, as he needs to replace those ghouls. But a nice TP scroll onto the massive amount of fairy dragons. I believe a statue did get taken down, but this huge fight, I don't know who exactly it's favoring, but the keeper is going to be forced to use that TP scroll. Fairy dragons are going to run away. Not sure how many were lost, but definitely enough to go under 50 supply, so that is indeed a huge loss for TH, but I imagine 120 also suffered pretty nasty stuff. He did lose a ziggurat and 2 of his ghouls, I guess, so those script fiends will have to wait, as ghouls need to be replaced. 120 on the other hand wasn't able to take down the Tree of Life. He did stop the mining of the second gold mine, however, so that is some sort of victory, but yet again a counterattack is coming, and yeah, these ghouls or ziggurats might not be able to last that long. Acolytes are being focus fired here, but definitely the spirit tower is the main, should be the main target. Acolytes are trying to repair as best they can, but all that's going to do is instigate those fairy dragons to just focus them down. And yikes, just one volley is able to take down a pretty good acolyte there. Crypt fiends being left alone to try and delay this expansion once again, but yeah, the fairy dragons are still pretty threatening. Destroyers did absorb a crap ton of treants, but they aren't fighting back against those fairy dragons. I'm not actually sure why. Either way, the race to try and take down the spirit tower is on the way. Alchemist trying his best, but his chemical rage did wear off. The ziggurat finally does get taken down there, and once again upside down supply for 120. Second destroyer is most likely going to be following suit from the first, as one more volley should be good enough. Nope, it seems the TP staff was used by the alchemist, and that is gonna encourage those fairy dragons to just retreat. TP staff by the Death Knight, he is at level 5, so those death coils will be starting to hurt, and of course heal as much health as possible. More fairy dragons on the way, but now it is a counterattack on the main base of TH. 120 is still getting harassed quite a bit by those fairy dragons, and with not much defense available, Black Citadel might get taken down. That is a kind of chunky building to destroy, but I mean, it's probably as fast as these crypt fiends going at it against that Altar of Elders. I did not realize the Keeper of the Grove actually getting taken down there. My mistake. I did hear a cry, but I honestly had no idea if it was a hero or not. But either way, Altar of Elders destroyed. That is going to delay the Keeper from coming back, as the Alchemist and Fairy Dragon just still going at it against the Black Citadel. We are now out of Acolytes, so the building is no longer able to be repaired. 39 versus 38. The Black Citadel at least is fighting back with its very, very minimal damage, but the Keeper I believe got revived at the tavern but got chased down by the DK, and that is going to be a death coil kill onto the Keeper yet again. The Alchemist is still being a menace. He does have a Death Knight to worry about, but I mean, he should be able to fight toe to toe with him, so I thought. It seems the Death Knight is just a little bit too much for the Alchemist there, and honestly possible Nova Coil could have maybe finished him off, but no mana for another Death Coil. So the Alchemist is gonna live for a little longer. Moonwalls are being focused by those Crypt Fiends, but with the Alchemist nearby, it's probably not wise to stick around. I don't think the Keeper has been revived just yet, so I mean, it's gonna be a costly revival. Got cancelled at the altar, was forced to revive at the tavern, only to die within minutes of his revival, so yeah, TH definitely not working out for him. His fairy dragon numbers were pretty impressive, but now it's not that many in the air. I believe that has to do with the the Death Knight and the Lich, Nova coiling the fairy dragons as much as possible. Alchemist trying his best, but without the Keeper's support, it's going to be rather difficult to find much opportunities. And now that we have a good chunk of Crypt Fiends, those fairy dragons might not be able to stand toe to toe against them anymore. 29 for TH, 37 for 120, despite being at constant economic disadvantage by only one basing. It seems 120 is able to find the dominant lead here, at least in 20 minutes in this game. Rock Golem is going to be started by the Lich. And yeah, it's a double consumables yet again. It is just a single consumable, but it is a good one for the DK, who is currently out of mana, so he will gladly take that 300 mana for himself. Fairy Dragons and the Alchemist on the other hand are still waiting around for something. Tree of Life over here on the right side, kind of greedy for TH, but I mean, he's trying to be as desperate as possible. Keeper finally gonna be starting to revive here through the altar, but it's gonna be a long time for him to regain his footing, to be honest, because it is still level 5, almost level 6 DK, and a level 4.5 Lich versus level 5, level 4 Alchemist, I believe. Level 4, yikes, that is worse than I thought. Chemical Courage is going to get popped for the Alchemist, and he will try and zoom out as best as he can, but all he's doing is stalling time. It's not like 120 was going for him anyway. He was just going for the second base, which just finished rebuilding. And yeah, should be taken down without much opposition. Fairy Dragons, I mean, we're still at 6, so I'm not sure how useful these are going to be, or if they can even base race this kind of army. More statues are being produced. Black Citadel is under fire, but yeah, Fairy Dragons are not that impressive in terms of DPS. Alchemist might be doing more damage than the others combined, maybe. But yeah, TB by the Lich is going to try and defend this as best he can. Holding on to those Frost Novas, possibly waiting for the Death Knight himself, is going to force the TP staff onto the Alchemist there, so TP'd right onto the Tree of Eternity, or Tree of Ages actually, as yet another expansion on the bottom side. Where is the Tree of Life? Or Tree of Eternity, in fact. I can't find it. That's really weird. I could have sworn that I saw the Tree of Eternity move. Okay, that is super weird. We're still having multiple Tree of Lives being built. Over here, and yeah, this one. So TH is building a lot of bases. It's just that he really can't defend against this kind of army. Mass Crypt Fiends with a couple of destroyers added to the side there. He seems to be handling very nicely against this mass Fairy Dragon threat. Okay, 120 is going to be spawning this expansion very soon, and yeah, with TH spread so thin around everywhere, I really can't see him winning eventually. Expansion being attacked, might have a counterattack at the main base, but is it going to amount to anything? I am not too sure. Treants once again being spawned, but this expansion might fall very soon. Just need to wait for whatever happens. Not much exciting things are happening. It's fairly pretty much just a DPS race onto the main buildings here. Tree of Life will be destroyed before the Black Citadel gets completely annihilated, but a TP scroll will be activated by the DK before any of the shenanigans happen, straight onto the Nova Coil of that Keeper, and that will be a very easy level 4 kill onto him. We might even have the Alchemist following suit very soon, as the Lich with level 3 Frost Nova should be able to make quick work out of this Alchemist. Nice Nova Core there, bring him down to half health, and that is going to be game. The Mass Fairy Dragons looked hopeful. They definitely did seem to be packing quite a punch behind their numbers, but it just didn't seem to translate very well into the later stages of the game. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Not much really happened. It was basically dragons versus spiders, and for some reason the spiders won. So yeah, I'll see you guys again next time. Take care.